Imagine being trapped in a world of silence, fear, and pain. A world where trust has been broken so many times that you no longer believe in the kindness of others. Now imagine that one day, just one moment, someone sees you, really sees you. This is the story of Walt, a dog who, after facing unimaginable suffering, finally found a place to heal, a place to belong. But his journey wasn't easy. When Walt first came into the life of his new family, he was nothing like the joyful, playful dog you would expect. Instead, he was broken, completely shattered by his past. The car ride to his new home was silent. No joyful barks, no tail wagging, just a quiet, fearful dog with eyes that told a story of pain. This wasn't a dog ready to welcome a new life. This was a dog haunted by a lifetime of abuse. Before Walt found his way into that car, before he ever met the family that would change his life, he had seen the worst of what the world could offer. It's difficult to imagine just how much pain can be packed into the small frame of a dog. Abuse, neglect, rejection, Walt had endured it all. He had been left behind by people who should have cared for him, forced to fend for himself in a world that seemed to offer only cruelty. His body showed the marks of neglect, but it was his spirit that had truly been broken. When they first met him, his new family didn't know just how much damage had been done. But one look at Walt told them everything they needed to know. He was a dog who had been abandoned, not just physically, but emotionally. He didn't trust, he didn't believe, and he certainly didn't expect kindness. Arriving at his new home should have been the beginning of a new chapter for Walt. But for him, it was more like facing another wall, another rejection, another fear. Walt couldn't even step through the door. He just stood there trembling, his whole body frozen with anxiety. That threshold, that small line between the outside world and the safety of his new home, was a mountain he couldn't climb, and yet they didn't give up on him. Even when Walt refused to cross the threshold, even when his fear kept him rooted in place, they didn't force him. They didn't yell or scold. They waited. They understood that trust was something that couldn't be rushed, something that needed time and patience, and so they waited. When Walt finally entered the house, his new family hoped for a small sign of progress, something that would show him that he was safe, but there was none. Walt didn't seek comfort, he didn't explore. Instead, he chose the cold floor. He found a corner and stared at the wall, as if wishing he could disappear into it. For hours, he remained there, unmoving, his eyes empty, lost in a void of sadness. Despite their best efforts, the family couldn't offer Walt the comfort he needed. They set up a soft bed, thinking it would give him peace. But Walt wouldn't even consider it. It was as if he didn't believe he deserved it. He curled up on the hard floor, seeking nothing but the emptiness he had known for so long. No love, no care, just survival. But then something changed. It was so subtle, so small, that most people might have missed it. Walt stood up, walked over to his owner, and gently nudged her hand with his nose. It wasn't much, but it was everything. It was his first step toward healing, his first sign that he was willing to trust again. It wasn't a leap, it was a step. But that small step opened up a world of possibilities. From that moment on, everything started to change. Slowly, cautiously, Walt began to explore. Each step, each movement was a victory, proof that even the most broken spirits can heal, given time and patience. And then came the moment that will forever be etched in his new family's hearts. Walt ran. He ran for the first time in a long time. His tail wagged, his paws kicked up the grass, and for that brief moment, the dog who had been so lost, so afraid, finally knew what it was like to feel free again. The joy of running, something so simple, yet so profound, was a symbol of everything he had overcome. Walt was no longer just surviving, he was living. And then there was the little dog, small, timid, yet full of warmth and kindness. This tiny creature, no bigger than a handful of fluff, became Walt's constant companion. Every night, she would curl up next to him, offering him the kind of comfort that no human could. A quiet, reassuring presence. A friend who told him without words that he wasn't alone anymore. Together, they formed a bond that helped Walt heal in ways no one could have predicted. It was a bond built on trust, on comfort, and on the unconditional love that only animals can provide. Today, Walt is a different dog. The dog who once sat frozen in fear, who couldn't trust or even hope for kindness, now greets his family at the door with excitement and joy. His tail wags nonstop, his eyes shine with life, and he's the first one to show up when it's time for play. Walt, who had been broken, now lives fully. And it's all because of the love and patience that surrounded him. Let Walt's story remind us all, no matter how broken, how scared, or how damaged an animal may seem, they have the ability to heal. But they need us. They need our love, our patience, and our commitment. If you ever meet a dog like Walt, remember this: don't give up on them. Be their safe place. Be their family. You might just be the one to show them that the world can still be kind. Share Walt's story today. Spread the love and inspire others to offer that second chance to an animal who needs it. Together, we can make the world a better place for them and for all of us.